Over the past several years, I've worked with RIAs, broker-dealers, and enterprise wealth managers across the country to understand their pain points and, more importantly, help them find scalable solutions that let them deliver better outcomes for clients without adding operational drag. Today, I'm joined by my colleague, Kerri Quinn, our head of index solutions, and I'll hand it over to her.
Thanks, Josh. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here. As Josh has already mentioned, I'm Kerri Quinn, and I work closely with the advisors every day, both in the implementation for direct indexing strategies and also shaping the Alphathena product as it evolves. So what excites me the most is seeing advisors take back their time and their control. They move away from those clunky spreadsheets, those manual processes, and just really we provide them a scalable solution for tax-smart portfolio. Before we dive in, we just want to mention a few housekeeping rules. Anyone that has any questions, please, throughout the presentation, please drop them in the comment section below, and then we'll also get around to answering them at the end of the presentation.
Awesome. Thanks, Kerri. So we're going to kick things off, and we want to start off with the challenge that we hear from advisors again and again, which is personalization and how it's everywhere. It's the buzzword of the last few years, and we hear personalization at every conference. We're talking about it during every platform pitch, and it comes up during every client meeting. In reality, personalization often means more work for advisors. The promise of personalization sounds great, but the implementation usually requires a few things: time-consuming manual workflows, thinking like spreadsheets, account-by-account reviews, endless reconciliations, processes that don't scale. So what works for a small number of accounts, call it 20, might not necessarily work at scale for 200 accounts. And the last thing is tech stacks that weren't built to work together. So a lot of times we see fragmented technology solutions all under one RIA. And this forces advisors to operate with rigid workflows that don't necessarily match how they operate. And the result here is advisors end up feeling stuck between what they know clients want and what they can realistically deliver.
That's right, Josh. And another piece to that, just adding another layer of what you spoke about, for how RIAs are building their technology stacks right now. So most firms have procured tools from multiple vendors, right? So they've got somebody for a custodian, and then they have somebody for an accounting system over here. And then add another layer to that, you have a trading system. And on top of that, you might have a third-party optimizer there too. So that can be a problem because not all of these systems speak the same languages. And even worse, that technology and software isn't designed around the advisor's workflows. So as you mentioned before, Josh, this can be rigid processes, and it doesn't really reflect what the advisor's really looking to do on and given the functionality for their workflow. It also provides, it can sometimes be like a black box. So think of an optimizer. You really don't know what you're trading. You're not sure. There's no transparency there. You just click a button and you just send in the trades. So the lack of transparency and control, doesn't really help the advisors. They also sort of force you to fit into this one-size-fits-all approach, which not each client operates that way. Each client can have its own unique personal portfolio and want things done differently.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Every RIA is different. All of the investors, the high net worth families and individuals that they support are different, and their tech stacks should have a lot of flexibility. Client needs are never uniform. So one advisor might be managing, just to call out some examples here, a corporate executive with concentrated stock requiring gradual unwinding. Maybe it's a retiree who needs to minimize realized gains for that given year. You might have younger clients that require some ESG or values or beliefs based investment philosophy. So trying to address those cases inside a rigid tech stack creates operational bottlenecks, makes scaling personalization nearly impossible.
Yeah, that's right. And that's really why we built Alphathena. It's unlike a rigid black box platform. Alphathena was designed to sit in-house with advisors. So we give advisors, they're in the driver's seat. So they have control over their workflows, and our approach is more flexible. So we're flexible in terms of trading. You can trade ad hoc and tax loss harvest utilizing real-time prices. So we're transparent on that, and you can drill down and look at your trades. We offer systematic rebalancing and tax loss harvesting, and we're adaptive. So whether or not you're managing, like you said, Josh, concentrated positions or ESG overlays or household level rebalancing, we can mold your workflows around your practice. So the platform does that for you. The outcome here is clear. Alphathena really helps you scale your personalization without sacrificing the efficiency.
Absolutely. So at a high level, what we're going to discuss today is kind of 4 key takeaways. There are 4 specific areas where Alphathena helps advisors reduce operational drag, incorporate some of this personalization that we're talking about, and unlock scalability. So the first topic that we're going to discuss is about harvesting, tax loss harvesting, smarter and at scale. Our new functionality as part of our monthly enhancements is batch optimized tax loss harvesting. So we're excited to talk about that. The second is simplifying operations with fractional shares. We're now offering fractional share cleanup with a few clicks of a button. Flexible allocations done on your terms. And lastly, deeper strategy insights around long short. So transparency into long short functionality, margin exposures, and risk controls. So tax loss harvesting is one of the cleanest and clearest ways advisors can show value. Clients get it, they see the tax benefit, and it's measurable. But traditionally, harvesting has been a nightmare for clients, for advisors, portfolio managers, chief investment officers. We commonly hear about them doing spreadsheets, manual reviews, account by account execution. It can be a huge time suck. And we're getting feedback all the time about current workflows, current processes. We've heard recently from a CIO that we're working with that every December they used to, they dreaded the process. They used to basically leave opportunities, tax loss harvesting opportunities throughout the year on the table. They simply just didn't have the bandwidth and wish that they could do it year round and have some sort of systematic workflow of realizing those losses and offsetting capital gains taxes for their clients.
That's right. So what does this actually unlock, Josh? So the tax loss harvesting batch mode optimization really helps advisors, look at all eligible tax accounts that they want to harvest. And they can harvest these with one fell swoop click of a button and send those trades off. So we call it batch optimization. This actually cuts down on operational time, like we spoke about before. It also delivers consistency because all of your accounts are done in one shot. So the payoff really here is the client gets to see tax alpha, and the firm gets to reclaim at the same time hundreds of manual hours. So you'll notice here the tax loss harvesting mode that users can use on the Alphathena platform. You can pull in your direct index. So we're pulling in a direct index here with all of the accounts that are associated with it. The platform essentially keeps the settings of these accounts or personal profiles of the accounts in place. And you just implement the batch tax loss optimization mode. You can also take a look and see what your tax savings is before for each individual account. We've essentially replaced, think about it, we've replaced that human bandwidth element. So at times, your firm might only be able to tax loss harvest maybe 200 accounts because you only have a few portfolio managers. Here, utilizing the Alphathena platform, this is less error prone because you're taking that manual step out, and that human limitation is no longer there because you can do everything in one shot, utilizing our tax loss harvesting mode here.
Thanks for that highlight, Kerri. Just to summarize, what we're doing here is moving from an account by account or single account workflow into batch tax loss harvesting. So you'll notice up kind of towards the top left-hand corner, you can select multiple direct indexes or model portfolios, and all of the accounts on the right-hand side, all of the accounts that are associated with those in batch tax loss harvest. So instead of going account by account and doing a lot of that manual work that we've traditionally seen with some of the RIAs that we partner with, you can tax loss harvest across multiple accounts at once. So going on to our 4 points, the second challenge that we're hearing about a lot, we've heard about in the past, is fractional leftovers. Fractional shares over time can cause portfolios to drift, and manual cleanup of fractionals can mean painstakingly logging into custodians, reconciling positions, and a lot of manual work.
That's right, Josh. So utilizing the Alphathena platform, you can just easily log into your account within our Manage tab, click Sell All Fractional Shares that are left over. And this will help clean up those pesky fractional shares that have gotten left over from either, like Josh said, a corporate action, and it can cause, tracking error drift. So by utilizing our platform to do this, you no longer have to build out spreadsheets for each account and then upload it to the custodian. With just a click of a button, you can easily send this off to your custodian and trade it.
Yes, corporate actions, dividends, anything that generates a fractional share, with our fractional share cleanup capabilities, you don't have to worry about that anymore. Another gap we often hear is allocation rigidness. So most systems out there dictate when and how trades go out, which rarely matches how advisors actually want to work.
Yeah, and with Alphathena, you gain back that control. So you can see real-time cash balances by just clicking the action button here where we show in our OMS system. So after you've traded, you can now just click allocate orders so that when you trade block trading, you no longer have to wait at the end of the day around 3 o'clock to see your trades and everything reflected. You can now just click this button and look at your custodian and see your cash balance reflected right away. This actually helps prevent any errors that could possibly pop up so that you can check your cash balances and make sure they're in line with what you expected.
And this capability can be found in our order management system or our OMS. So what you're seeing here is trade orders that have been generated in the past. That functionality that we're talking about allocating is highlighted in yellow there, so you'll see that. Any trade orders that are generated on the platform, either being from tax loss harvesting, rebalancing, our portfolio transition tool, or just investing in an all cash account in a direct index or model portfolio, those trades can all be seen here. And we also have governance. So if you have, portfolio associates or co-portfolio managers or other advisors that are going to be using this, we have some governance on the back end that we can work with you to set up so that trade orders that come through can sit in pending approval till they've been reviewed and reconciled, at which point they would be filled. Last subject we want to talk about today is long short. Many firms avoid it. It's become a very popular topic of conversation in this industry. And we feel like a lot of firms that have avoided it have done so not because they don't see the value, but more so because managing exposures and risk controls feels somewhat risky or intimidating without the right visibility. So we're going to talk a little bit about that now.
Yeah, so sometimes it can be hard to see oversights within long short accounts. So at Alphathena, we've built a oversight for managing your margin details. And you'll see here on the green and the red under manage details, you'll see the cash amount for the long and the cash amount for the short, along with the percentage of weights. So let's say you're managing a 130/30. You can now see how far your portfolio has drifted from there and to keep track of whether or not you need to rebalance. Or if you're managing a 150/50 or 2,100. You can easily see that using the Alphathena platform. We also provide margin balance and margin buying power. This also helps, it's more of a proactive measure. So it helps pull in the custodian margin balance so that advisors know exactly how much leverage is available, prevents them from becoming over levered. And also, as you know, market volatility can pick up. And when market volatility picks up, that can increase their margin requirements, which can actually create a risk. So by us providing the margin balance and the margin buying power, advisors can use this functionality to keep track of where they are for each account for long short. So we also notice that there can sometimes be these hidden costs when you're managing a long short. So we've put in place these risk controls. And what do we mean by risk controls for shorts? So sometimes you have the short interest, or what they are also referred to as rebate rates. And rebate rates are the borrowing. How much does it cost to borrow these securities? And sometimes it can cost more. The cost can tick up higher depending on how much it costs to borrow from the lender. And so we monitor that and flag it as a risk threshold if it goes above what your threshold was originally kept within the constraints. So if it goes above, we will flag it within our system to let the advisor know. Along with that, you have dividend yields that are flagged. And so the rationale for dividend yields, there's dividend yields obligation. So when you're shorting or borrowing a security, you're essentially borrowing that security and what you are responsible as the borrower, you're responsible for paying that dividend. So if that dividend is increasing, you have to pay that back to the lender. So we're flagging the dividends here so that advisors can take it on their responsibility, whether or not they want to cover that short position and no longer hold it or exclude it overall from their portfolio.
Yeah, these thresholds are crucial in managing when you're managing long short portfolios. Just to make sure that you're mitigating any excess risk when you have these short positions in place. So the Alphathena platform has made that extremely intuitive for the advisors and portfolio managers that use our platform, so that they can control these risk thresholds for their clients. So in summary, everything that we talked about today unlocks three main things. Kerri, I'll kick it back to you.
That's right. Those three main things is we kept honing in on is efficiency, consistency, and scalability. So again, efficiency, you're reclaiming all of that operational time-consuming work and taking that operational drag out from your firm. Consistency, you're providing higher quality of an outcome for your clients. And scalability, you now have the opportunity to grow and add headcount because you no longer have that operational drag when you use the technology that we have. So the biggest difference is for Alphathena is we adapt to you. It's not another rigid black box system that we talked about before. We're not forcing you to conform into this way. It's a flexible foundation that lets you deliver that personalization for your clients' workflows and for your clients.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing with efficiency specifically is reclaiming those hours of operational time each week allows these RAs that we partner with to focus on the aspects of their business that truly matter to them and their clients. Retirement planning, estate planning, college planning, maybe to the advisors, what matters to them is winning new clients. So that growth enablement through efficiency is what we like to hear a lot about. So we will leave you with this question, and that is your tech stack proving value, or is it creating more work? At Alphathena, we believe technology should help you scale smarter, operate more profitably, and deliver deeper client value, not bog you down. Thanks so much for your time today. We will open it up for questions, and we'll be sending a full recording of this to your inbox. It'll also be available on LinkedIn, so you can rewatch it if you need to, or share it with folks at your firm, your colleagues, and we will open it up for questions now. Okay, we got one here. We have several. I'll ask the first one. Okay. That is, the multi-account tax loss harvesting feature seems really helpful in cutting back on the time needed to trade across several taxable accounts for my clients. How do the losses present themselves respective to every account, and are those settings customizable? I'll go ahead and answer that. So tax loss harvesting, the way that it works is it's rules-based. When we onboard with the RAs that we work with, we take in all of their settings, their data. Within those settings, you're able to control at the account level, the household, the master, or the firm, totally flexible, what the loss thresholds are at a percentage or a dollar amount. So when you're using our tax loss harvesting tool, any securities that exceed those loss thresholds, either the percent or the dollar amount, will be presented to you and available to trade, to sell off at a loss. So it's systematic, it's rules based. Everything flows through to the UI UX, the interface that you see that we showed on the tax loss harvesting slide. We work with you to input those settings so that it flows systematically and you don't have to worry about uncovering those losses and trading them. Second question we got here is, you mentioned risk controls, but do you have any constraints for creating a long-short direct index? We covered that a little bit, but Kerri, if you want to dive into that some more.
Well, I can take that one, Josh. So for implementing a long-short strategy within the Alphathena platform, you can add in max and min weight positions that you want, meaning you can add in different constraints that you're looking for, along with, size drift, dividend yield, and also just control over factors. So which ones do you want to, increase for, and which ones are you looking to tilt more towards or tilt away towards? And that is all controlled when you're setting up your direct index long short portfolio.
Awesome. Thanks, Kerri. One last question. I think we're kind of running short on time here. We'll take this last question. If anybody has any more, feel free to reach out to us directly. The last question is, how much time can this realistically save my team? And that's a really good question. The reality is, though, the time savings will look different for every firm, depending on how many accounts they're managing and how manual their current processes are. So it's all respective of that. What we consistently hear from advisors, though, is that what used to take them days or even weeks can now be done in a fraction of the amount of time. So more importantly, it's not necessarily about the hours saved. It's about, as we discussed earlier, freeing up the time and the bandwidth for your team so that they can focus on higher value work instead of being bogged down in repetitive manual tasks. So it helps there. It helps reduce manual errors, and we feel like that enables the firms that we work with to be more efficient, to be scalable, and to support their clients in a more serviceable way. So we will go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks everybody for joining. Kerri, any last thoughts?
Yeah, we'd love to hear more of your questions or stories, or, please reach out to us at alphathena.com, and you can contact us here too on our LinkedIn, and just tell us about the challenges you're facing and exactly, those challenges help drive our innovation. So thanks again, everyone, and have a great rest of your week.
Thanks, everybody.